a lot of relationships, I'm close to you because you have made time and time again effort to be close to me, and I've done that for you. But in theater, a lot of times we're just close because we're in a show together for 3 months.
Right.
Or we're just close.
And when that's over, it's gone.
Right. And there's no closeness. So I think that's where it gets really hard, where it takes effort to be honest with someone. And Neva, maybe Neva doesn't want to be honest with me. She's like, why are you telling me this in the first place?
And let's be honest, we all love to spill the tea.
Yeah.
If you remember, a few weeks back, I told you I was reading this book called The Heart of the Artist. Do you remember? And so I thought that this week we might talk about one of the lessons that I learned in there, and that is, what is the job of the artist in community? I'm going to read a little bit of the opening of chapter 3 to you guys. That was swift, wasn't it?
Hear it too. That's nice.
Emily has just arrived home after a long rehearsal at church and answers the phone and thinks that it's probably something about the rehearsal that she just had. And on the line is Jacob, who is on the video team. And he says, Emily, I hate to call you at home, and I'm sorry for calling so late. Are you busy? And she says, well, I'm not quite home yet. I just pulled into the garage, so I'm still in the car, but I guess I can talk. You sound troubled, Jacob. Are you okay? And Jacob says, well, no, I hate to bring this up. I know how busy you are, but there's a lot of people in the worship ministry who are in arms right now. I don't know if you know how bad it is. After rehearsal, I was talking with Paul, and he's really upset. And Emily says, well, I'm sorry to hear that. What is he upset about? Jacob says, he feels like if he were to quit the team that nobody would care. And some of us have been talking, and everybody feels the same way. And Emily said, you mean like if you left the team, nobody would notice or care? And Jacob says, yeah, no one really feels connected. And Emily says, well, how long has Paul been upset? When I spoke with him tonight, he seemed okay. He didn't act like he was upset, and he certainly didn't mention anything about it. Jacob says, well, I'm not surprised. He's pretty confused right now, and he doesn't think that you like him. And Emily says, I can tell already you have a lot of thoughts. Emily says, really? I'm sorry to hear that. I like Paul very much. Jacob says, well, he's so upset he's thinking about leaving the church. That's how angry he is. And Emily says, is he mad at me? Jacob says, yeah. Well, he's still angry that he didn't get the tech director position. And Emily's like, wow, that was 3 years ago. And Jacob says, I know, but he really had his heart set on leading our team. I understand why you hired Frank. Frank's new and younger, but Paul's got way more experience. And Emily says, well, now that you mentioned it, I thought it was really odd that Paul left the room when the cast sang happy birthday to Frank tonight. Jacob says, yeah, I think Paul was hurt by that, especially since nobody wished him a happy birthday last week. And Emily says, oh, well, I don't think anybody knew it was his birthday. And Jacob gets mad and says, that's the point. We talk about fellowship and community all the time, but it's all just talk. We're not a team at all. What happened to Paul happens all the time. You expect to see this kind of thing out in the world, but not in the church. And no wonder that Paul's hurt. No wonder that Paul's hurt. I would be too. And Emily says, Jacob, did you tell Paul to come and talk to me? Jacob says, oh, no, people are intimidated by you. We can't do that. And you're busy. And the conversation goes on.
Wow.
But I think that is amazingly accurate for what life is with Christians today.
Amen.
Amen?
Like word for word, almost. Every single part of that. It's like, I've heard that. Yep, I've heard that. I've said that. Yeah, like 100%.
Now, at this particular point, if we just read that scenario, Emily, as far as we know, has not really done anything wrong, right? We're hearing Jacob talk about how Paul is upset.
Yeah.
Do we think that Jacob is doing anything wrong?
100%.
List a few.
Because I think there's reasons why you tell someone something. So Neva Huff, she always says, if you're not part of the problem or part of the solution, maybe don't be talking about it. And like that was her definition of a gossip. And I was like, that's very true. So like what Jacob is doing, is he offering ways that she can help? Not really.
Nope.
Is he offering really any help to the situation? Not really. He's just accusing, and that's pretty much it. So maybe if Jacob came and said, here's a way, because he kind of accused her saying, hey, you're not making it so that we can come to you, which I would say maybe that's part of Emily, right?
Could be.
Her problem.
It could be.
She's not being open enough. But he's not saying, hey, this is a way that Paul could feel more included, or
Yeah.
maybe I talked to him and said maybe, but he's kind of just, it sounds like he's egging on Paul.
I think to me, it sounds like he's somebody who's coming to make Emily feel bad.
Yeah.
And he's taking maybe Paul's hurt on himself
Yeah.
because he's hurt
Projecting.
himself.
Yep.
Instead of saying, hey, girl, we got a problem.
Yeah.
And like, let's see if together we can figure this out because we're not feeling, and maybe I'm projecting because I don't feel myself that they're connected. And so is there a way that you can help me feel projected? Is there a way you can help me feel connected?
Yeah.
And I don't even know if I feel like it's right for him to bring up Paul's stuff.
I think it's very interesting. And I think it's funny where it's not sometimes what you say, but how you say it.
Yeah.
And I think this happens all the time. Like, I'm sure you can think of a million times that this scenario has happened.
And she's not exaggerating. It's probably a million.
Like this week, you know what I mean? And I think it's why are you saying what you're saying? So what he's saying, it needs to be said, because if Paul's going to leave, it sounds like I feel like we're talking about them like we know them. But Paulie, and it's people feel like that, but then it's interesting. It's so much information in one little like blur, you know what
right?
I mean?
That's one of the things that I think he does brilliantly. Is like he just writes this scenario at the beginning of every chapter, and you're like, oh,
and just
I didn't think I had that problem, but I do.
Yeah. You're like, well, that's me. You can kind of see yourself in each one of them. But I think it's maybe he should tell her, but not in the context of Paul, but maybe seeing the problem and then thinking of a solution and bringing it to her.
Right.
But I think for him, he's just seeing the problem. I think a lot of times when it is in community, sometimes we just see the problem. We just want to talk it through.
Is it ever okay for, let's say you had a really serious issue with me, and if you do, please don't do it right now.
Wait, but that'd be such good video.
Can we wait? Remember, I'm insecure.
It's for the views.
But let's say that you did.
Yeah.
Okay. But you were like just pretending that everything is all right. And we sit here week after week and you never let me know at all. At least not in an overt way, right?
Passive aggression,
like
though.
maybe if you're thinking you should be smart enough to know that this is not myself, right? I understand that, but I don't know that I should be responsible for you not telling me.
I don't think so.
Right?
No.
So you're talking to Neva. We'll say Neva since you were just talking about her, and you tell her that you're really hurt by me and you're really sad or whatever, and you're like, I don't even know if I can do From the Wings anymore. I'm really sad. So at that point, is it right for Neva to come talk to me?
Fun story. This totally happened. I love how you forgot. So this happened. I had a grievance against you.
I don't remember that at all.
Gosh.
I don't remember that stuff. I don't.
Which is great.
Yeah.
And it's underwater. It's under the bridge. And I aired this in a private setting with a group, and someone from that group
I do remember now.
told you. And I got so mad because I really do believe, and especially like in that scenario, like knowing, you came to me and said, hey, sorry about that, blah, blah, blah. That wasn't on you. That was on me. Like, even though I felt better once you said, hey, I'm sorry for this miscommunication, as an adult, I should have, if I had an issue, I should have come to you with it. And like looking back on that scenario, I definitely should have come to you with it instead of, and actually since then, I have gotten better at not airing my grievances about other people.
Yeah.
If I haven't talked to that person.
Look at you.
Look at me growing.
I love it.
No.
So
But it's
then,
very important.
in that point,
Yeah.
it wasn't Neva, but we're going to still use her.
Yeah.
So in that point, Neva actually did you a favor. But was it right?
No. I would say no. I think they did a favor because God can work all things out for good, but I think it's not right for someone to air someone else's grievance, because as adults, you need to see that you need to do that yourself. And I would say the Neva in the situation, Neva should be like, hey, have you told Reba?
Right.
And I think that's but that takes
And
so much
that's
effort.
hard.
That takes
It
effort,
is.
and it takes caring. And I think that's a big part of being in community is we are so close to each other without having that. The reason we're close is because we showed that we cared about each other. With a lot of relationships, I'm close to you because you have made time and time again effort to be close to me, and I've done that for you. But in theater, a lot of times we're just close because we're in a show together for 3 months,
Right.
Or we're just close
and when
because
that's over, it's gone.
right? And there's
Yeah.
no closeness. So I think that's where it gets really hard, where it takes effort to be honest with someone. And Neva, maybe Neva doesn't want to be honest with me. She's like, why are you telling me this in the first place?
And let's be honest, we all love to spill the tea.
Yeah.
So sometimes the Neva,
Yeah.
might not want to encourage you to come talk to me
Yeah.
because she'd rather stir the pot and then
Yeah.
come to talk to me
Yeah.
because she wants to hurt me.
Wow.
And I think that's what Jacob was doing.
yeah, I think so.
And I think we have to be careful.
Yeah.
It's like we're saying all the time that we are representing
Wow.
our Lord.
Wow.
And yet, how are we
Yeah.
representing him? Because we like to keep our foot in the dirt just a little bit.
Okay, convict me even more. Oh my goodness. Because it's fun. And you get to know so much about people that you don't really care about in the way that Christ wants you to. And it's easy to slip into that.
So I do have some things that can help us, some points, okay?
I'm excited.
So the first thing, in order, I believe, well, according to the book, that I agree with him, is that relationships matter.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes back to what you were saying a second ago about being treated like somebody really cares about you. I think it's really important for you to remember that your personality has created a place for you on the team of whatever you're working for. And we all have different personalities. But if God has called you to be on a team, then he has created a place for you there. And it also means that you're not indispensable, but that you could be irreplaceable. So just think about that when you think about, oh, I don't fit, or my personality means I can't work with that person.
Yeah.
Because we don't always like everybody, but
Yeah.
it doesn't mean we can't always see the worth in them, right?
Yeah. Amen.
So just to wrap up, I'm going to give us, without really explaining a lot of it, because I think you'll all understand what I mean, some things that he says hinder teamwork, which would make you not want to work with the team the right way, or would affect it and affect your place and the power of your team. Selfishness, grumbling and complaining, a competitive spirit, disunity, and that was the last one.
Wow.
So think about yourself and what's going on in your team. And if you're selfish, if you always have to grumble and complain, if you're always competing and wanting that job that somebody else has, and just the spirit of disunity. Unity is important to God. It's not something that we should take lightly. One of the things, the Bible, one of the verses that he gives is Ephesians 4:3, when it says to make every effort to keep the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace.
Make sure to subscribe and like, and leave us a comment on what you've been thinking about this book, and has it helped you at all? Are you going to send this to someone? You're like, hey, we've been talking about this, or we should think about this. Definitely let us know.
I hope so. Thank you again for joining us today. And until next time, this is just me
And me.
talking to you
From the wings.